sections, classified advertising, no. Anything produced by a news organization that deals with law and lawyers, courts, law enforcement, the delivery of legal services, the effectiveness of the justice system, the work of the organized bar, if you can call it that, or related matters.
Thank you, Jimmy. The content of entries may be current or historical, objective or analytical in nature. Special consideration may be given to entries that demonstrate courage or tenacity on the part of the news medium or the journalists who produce the entry. Any newspaper, blog, radio station, television station, or wire service located in Florida is eligible to enter. Judging criteria are not based on the greatest amount of resources used, but whether those resources available are used well and to the fullest in the tradition of outstanding journalism. The chair of this year's Media Awards Committee was Attorney Liza Park, a member of the Media and Communications Law Committee and a former news anchor. Liza is out of the country and could not be with us tonight. She sends her regrets. The awards jury consists of an out-of-state broadcast journalist, an out-of-state print journalist, 2 Florida lawyers. We couldn't entrust this to just one. We had to have one check the other, with substantial experience in journalism and or media law, and 1 Florida educator of journalism or law. Jimmy?
The other lawyer was to handle the appeal. Okay, so the judges were Karen Kammer, a media lawyer with Mitrani, Reiner, Adamski, and Toland in Miami, and a former journalist. Judy Mercier, a partner at Holland & Knight in Orlando. Her practice covers media and entertainment law. Teresa Ponte, chair and associate professor of the Department of Journalism at Florida International University, School of Journalism. She's also a member of the Florida Bar. We had 2 out-of-state judges. One was Dion Anglin, a reporter at KDFW Fox 4 in Dallas. And Julian Miller, who's the chief spokesman for the Savannah, Georgia Police Department and former publisher of the Savannah Morning News. And as a former publisher, that's kind of an interesting career path.
It's back to you. I talk too much. In analyzing the entries, the judges considered the informational value, the increased public understanding of the legal system, did it inform and educate citizens. Judges also looked at the degree of difficulty of the subject matter and the execution of the entry, including depth of reporting and clarity of writing, editing and production and creativity. There are a lot of great entries this year, but in the print category, 2 stood out from all the rest. The formats were different, but in terms of quality, the prize-winning print entries were practically neck and neck in the eyes of the judges, but they finally came down to a decision. First prize for print for Evolving Justice, A Century of Law, is the Daily Business Review. 100 years of Dade County court history were chronicled in a glossy edition of the Daily Business Review. All of the articles were published in the DBR in the months leading up to the official anniversary, and they were compiled into a magazine for special distribution. Law editor Kathy Wilson says DBR generated a compendium of articles tracing the circuit from its pioneer days through eras of segregation and discrimination against Jews and Hispanics. The sensational trials of Al Capone and Ted Bundy, South Florida's role in the Watergate scandal, and an unsolved murder mystery were highlighted. Jose Pagliari and Julie Kay, 2 of the newspaper's 4 law writers, did the bulk of the writing. Creative director John Rindo was responsible for the magazine's design. Accepting the first place prize for the Daily Business Review is Steve Plunkett. Let's give him a hand.
Second prize for its coverage of eyewitness identification is the Palm Beach Post. Reporter Susan Spencer-Wendell is a 12-year veteran of covering courts. Her award-winning entry this year, one of at least 4, I think, times she's been here, is an investigation into police practices of eyewitness identification and whether police in Florida were using the Justice Department recommendations of a decade ago to ensure that those eyewitness identifications are sound. According to the Post, in 2010, the Florida Supreme Court created an Innocence Commission to investigate causes of wrongful convictions. Its first order of business was to evaluate eyewitness identification because it causes more than 75% of wrongful convictions. Susan saw an opportunity to investigate it statewide, and here's what she did. She surveyed 32 police agencies locally on written policy and procedures on eyewitness identification. Of 28 agencies that responded, only 3 had separate written policies. The Innocence Commission praised Susan's work, urged that distinct policies for eyewitness identification be encouraged for all police agencies in the state. Weeks later, the Florida Sheriff's Association and other police groups adopted those standards. Accepting the second prize for the Palm Beach Post is Susan Spencer-Wendell.
My turn.
We're going to do more paparazzi next year. Actually, the paparazzi corps has been cut down to 2 paparazzi, which I think is a paparazzus. All right, your turn.
First prize for television for its coverage of